And essentially what this means is that when we have it checked, the value of this is on, and then when we check it again, the value is nothing, so we don't have a value. The value attribute is defined, but we don't actually have a value. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and check that this state is on or off. Now, halfway through the tutorial, I've completely changed my mind, and I've sort of thought to myself, well, when we check this, we just want to enable this, and when we uncheck it, we want to disable it again. So we'll go with that. It's probably a bit more practical for those of you that want to go ahead and use this. So I'm going to create an if statement, and the condition is if state is on. So if the state is on, that means that we agree, and we can go ahead and enable the button. Otherwise, if the state is equal to nothing, we want to go ahead and disable the button once again. So we'll focus on disabling the button again. We'll focus on enabling the button first. And with this, we're using removeAttr, which is what the whole tutorial, the point of the tutorial, is about. So we want to reference this, obviously again our currently selected object, and we want to use removeAttr, and we're going to sort of tell this function, if you like, which attribute we want to remove. And the attribute we want to remove completely is the disabled attribute, so this will literally just get rid of this like that. So that's all we're doing with this button here. And in actual fact, sorry, no, it's not this, it's hash continue, because we're referencing the button itself. Sorry, we're not referencing the checkbox. So we're removing the attribute disabled. Let's just go ahead and check that out. So when I click on it, we're going to, it will obviously change. We'll grab the state. If the state is equal to on, i.e. if it's checked, like we saw earlier when we alerted it out, we're going to go ahead and remove the attribute from this continue button here. So when we click it, you can see that that's enabled. Now obviously when we uncheck it, we still have a state change, but now we're stuck with the enabled button. If, for example, I click on agree and then I don't agree, and I uncheck, I won't want to continue, or I won't want my users to continue if I was to have this on my website. So if the state is equal to nothing when we could say null here, which would be better. If the state is equal to null when we have changed the checkbox, i.e. has it been unchecked, we want to go ahead and re-disable the continue button. So we want to add the attribute disabled, and the value of this is disabled, much like we did before. This here, let's just bring it down, is the equivalent to disabled equals disabled, like that. So that's how that looks inside of jQuery. However, when we apply it to the element, it will create the attribute. So once again, when we click it, we enable the button, but now when we uncheck it, in actual fact, I think that's probably because it doesn't equal null, it's just a blank value. Yeah, okay, so now when we click it, the value or the state of this from the value is equal to on. Otherwise, if the state is equal to nothing, which it is when we uncheck it, then we go ahead and add this attribute disabled to the button again. So we're sort of like toggling between states, if you like. So you could go ahead and you could sort of apply this to a form, and then at the end of the form you could have this agree button, and then continue. You might have this here wrapped around a form like this, and then you might have some agreement here, and then they would read the agreement and either agree and then continue to submit the form, or they could uncheck and then they wouldn't be able to click. Just bear in mind that this is a button type, so to have it actually submit the form, you would have it as a submit type. And obviously, because we're referencing by the ID, this doesn't make a difference and it still works, so we can click continue and we can submit the form. You see we've just got a little question mark here, but obviously if you had an action it would submit. So that's how we've toggled between this using removeAttr was the focus of this tutorial. However, it's boring just to talk about one attribute without its practical application, so I've popped it into this small little piece of functionality that goes ahead and toggles this based on a checkbox value.